Hello, I'm Neil from TribePad and I'm going to show you some tools for post-pandemic talent acquisition. Thanks for joining me at the TA Global Gathering. I'm going to be sharing some case studies, data and insights into how TA professionals and some of the world's best known firms are handling volume recruitment. So I'll take you through three different areas, focusing mainly on volume recruitment. The reason for that is applications per role are on the increase and you're going to need to be able to handle that. So there's some tools I'm going to show you specifically around that. Also, video interviewing. Even your nan is using Zoom for her Zumba class. Anybody recruiting at the moment is using video interview. The excuses are gone, the benefits are obvious. And finally, analytics. It's time to move from post and pray to proper TA. You need to be using data like your finance and marketing teams do. Okay, let's get into things. Applications increased about 1/3 from 2018 to 2019, but this year we've already seen almost a doubling in the number of average applications per vacancy. Now we've seen similar data from Indeed and Broadbean as well, and considering 600,000 people have been made redundant and there's 9 million on furlough, it's very likely there's going to be an awful lot of people applying for your roles during the next year. So who are TribePad and why do we know about volume recruitment? Well, we're a complete talent acquisition suite. We're a specialist recruitment software provider and we have an applicant tracking system, onboarding, video interviewing, CRM and chatbot. We've grown by recommendation over the past 10 years and more than 20 million people use our software worldwide. We're used by some of the world's best known organisations, particularly those who are of a reasonable size and have very specific requirements, perhaps in multiple geographies, perhaps with different brands, lots of different complexities within the business that standard off the shelf software as a service products just can't handle. Likewise, our clients are often looking for far more attentive service levels than the big global software behemoths can handle. One thing that we've been developing relatively recently is a platform called TribePad Flex, which is our freelance management system. Lots of recruiters are working with a mix of contractors and employees at the moment. Our platform's used by the BBC for all of their off-screen talent. So whether you're a runner on the One Show or a camera operator for David Attenborough, you find your role through our platform. It's also used by professional services firms who manage day rate contractors in finance and legal sectors. And recently we've had our software used in the volunteer sector for coordinating a response to COVID-19. Okay, enough about TribePad, let's get into the subject itself. So on the 18th of March, the environment for TA changed worldwide. Mass redundancies started, literally millions of hourly paid workers suddenly didn't know where the rent money was coming from. But supermarkets in particular went on a hiring spree because of the demand for their services and the need to change their working environment. Tesco is a TribePad client and has been for many years. They normally receive 20,000 applications a week, which is not an insubstantial number in itself. But in this one particular week, they received 1 million applications through our platform, and that led to 45,000 new jobs. So when we're talking about volume recruitment, we're talking about some fairly serious numbers here. Now, you'd think that volume would cause a nightmare for recruiters, hiring managers, and candidates. But with the right process and tools, you can actually still deliver a great candidate experience. And that can result in really incredibly short time to hire and have a positive effect on your brand. Because it's really crucial, particularly if you're in retail, hospitality or something like that, that for every candidate who you do take on, you're going to have literally hundreds who you don't. And it's important that those people don't go away with a negative perception of your brand. Now, of course, it doesn't work perfectly every time. Here's an example of where comedian Jason Manford applied for a job at Tesco and was rejected and wasn't very happy about it. Having said that, take a look at how quickly the Tesco team were able to adapt their auto emails to make sure that they kept their candidates informed and keep people warm for repeat applications. Other areas where companies need to adapt, of course, with amount of planning, people in retail and hospitality in particular are used to annual surges for Christmas campaigns or autumn seasons, or in early careers, a summer, autumn new starters for graduates and apprentices. So it's important to be able to design for those surges in campaigns and create easy to administer landing pages with all the right tracking and custom content so that you bring these people into your ATS very quickly and simply. Another example of this is Sodexo, who have been very closely involved with the government in recruiting for COVID testers all across the UK. Again, we've helped them create some very specific campaign landing pages with embedded videos to explain the sensitive nature of this role. And we've also helped them work to create a very simple application process which balances the need for compliance and explaining what the role is going to be, but also maximizes the number of applicants who can get through the system very quickly. Because of course many of these people have suddenly found themselves out of work in the hospitality or retail sector, and Sodexo wants to try and capture as many of these candidates as possible, as quickly and easy as possible. Let's look at some other tools that good talent acquisition technology should help you with. We're going to look at auto scoring, auto shortlisting, and auto rejections. So the screen here is showing you some ways of creating some upper and lower threshold for some simple questions like whether you have a driving license, right to work in the UK, and the amount of experience you might have in this sector. So once you've designed your form, candidates who meet a certain threshold can be automatically moved through to shortlist and receive an email, progress through to the next stage. Those people who miss the threshold are automatically moved to reject, sent a nicely formatted email to professionally communicate with them, and that frees up your team to look only at those people who are in the middle area, can reduce a huge amount of effort. And of course these can be internal simple screening questionnaires built within the system, or they can trigger out to things like SHL, chemistry, amberjack. So for example, Card Factory handled more than 50,000 applications a week during September to November 2019 for their Christmas campaign using these sorts of tools. And Tesco handle more than 20,000 graduate applications every year with a team of just 2. Of course, you can use the same integration methodology here to go and do external right to work checks to see if people have got obviously the right to work in the UK and prove that their identity is who they say they are. That's really important in healthcare sectors or government or finance sectors, and one of our clients managed to reduce their time to hire by 30% by using these integrated compliance tools. Another area of frustration for hiring managers, recruiters and candidates is the process of booking an interview. Now this should be something really, really simple, but particularly when you're hiring at scale, handling hundreds of telephone screens or video interview screens, it's really important to get this right. It can be a real source of frustration and dropout for candidates. And the best candidates in the market will be potentially handling several different offers. They'll certainly be applying to lots of different jobs at once. So it's really important that your process is simple, slick, and keeps the candidate up to date at all times, telling them what information they need for the interview, and also helping the hiring managers to cope with what they need to be doing, because inevitably the hiring manager has a very, very busy time, and this is just a small part of their job. So having the right tech to make this simple really helps things for the TA professional, rather than you having to get involved in all kinds of painful administration. So talking of interviews, let's talk about video interviewing. Obviously, some organisations were already using video, and many organisations have now been forced to adapt to it in a real hurry. The most common types of video interview in a bulk hiring sense is a one-way interview, generally replacing a first telephone screen interview. Allows for a really high level of consistency, reduces administration and costs by about 90%. Huge benefits for the candidate in that they can do the interview when they are relaxed and happy at home. Big benefits for the hiring managers. They can review the interview in the sofa in the evening and weekend, whenever they're having to work flexibly at the moment around their childcare, for example. So real big benefits there. It can also be integrated into your applicant tracking system to trigger invitations in bulk, tracking completion rates, and there's a really good level of reporting and compliance. So you have evidence for the decisions that you've made, and you can track any bias in the process. You'll see here that good specialist interviewing video software has the ability to create a speech-to-text transcript. The benefits for that is you've got a record of what the candidate says without having to actually listen to it. You can also search that transcript by keyword. So, for example, you can look for people who've answered a question about customer service, for example. Once you've got that transcript, of course, you can then translate that into other languages. So many recruiters are being asked to do more with less, particularly if you've got remit internationally. You have the scope here to recruit in different languages without having to speak that language yourself. So some real benefits there in terms of efficiency and using technology to help you in the volume recruitment. Of course, as candidates progress through the system, you are going to want to do live, real-time interviews. So video interviewing is, of course, being used to replace face-to-face interviews, which are logistically very difficult at the moment. But rather than having to force the candidate to download all sorts of different apps and different software or risk Zoom bombing, specialist video interviewing software, again, integrates with your stack and allows for proper recording of the interview so that it can be scored by multiple people and reviewed later for evidence, so rather than just sitting on loads of different laptops all around the company and causing a GDPR nightmare for you. Of course, video interviewing doesn't just have to be about one-to-one interviews. You should be able to undertake panel interviews as well, which is really important in sectors like education, government, finance, healthcare, where you want to have multiple hiring managers reviewing the interview and reacting to questions in real time. So it's so much more efficient for the candidate and hiring managers, and therefore recruiters, in being able to conduct these interviews without having to get everybody physically in the same place. Okay, the final subject for today we're going to talk about is moving from post and pray to proper TA, and that's acting much more like finance and marketing staff, where we need to be data driven as recruiters because we're being asked to do more with less. So it's really important that your analytics platform is able to help you understand what's happening in your TA funnel. So what are the best sources? What volume are you dealing with? What does the pipeline look like? Where are the blockages in the platform? Do you have problems with finance in terms of getting requisitions approved? Do you have problems with hiring managers who are not reviewing the candidates quickly enough? It must be really easy to access this data in real time to give you one truth of what's actually happening. And of course, at the moment and always, it's important to have access to diversity data to understand how you're doing in terms of attracting different candidates from different backgrounds, and just as importantly, how they are progressing through the process. Do you have blockages? Do you have problem areas where certain candidates from different backgrounds aren't progressing to different stages? So it's important to have this data. Once you've got that data, it's empowering you as a recruiter to inform the business and inform your hiring managers to help put them in control of the process as well. So the data should be really easy to share in terms of being able to export data as often as you like, being able to automatically schedule reports that either come out of the box or you've configured within the system, where you choose the columns, you choose the recipients, you choose the frequency that they receive that report, so that you can show the business that you're in charge and you're in control of what's happening. Because fundamentally, recruitment is a profit generation center for the business. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. I'll finish up with some conclusions here. Firstly, application rates are already high. We're all volume recruiters now. And whether you need to maximize applications or you're looking to screen people out of the process very quickly, you need to be able to vary your application process to deliver a great candidate experience. And you can deliver that great candidate experience at volume. It's really important that you're not getting duff reviews on Glassdoor and things like that, because that's going to affect you for the long term and takes an awful lot of effort to correct. So let's get the candidate experience right in the first time. Video interviewing can save you a huge amount of time and money and deliver a fantastic experience for your candidates and your hiring managers as well. So it's here to stay. Get the right tools to help you do it efficiently and where you're in control of your data. And that data is going to help you move to a data-driven recruitment process where you're able to justify what you're doing, prove your effectiveness, show where you're delivering improvements, and give you the data you need for investing in further technology, which is going to help you do more with less. And the key thing here is this isn't about tomorrow's AI whizziness. These are today's capabilities. It's about getting the basics right, demonstrating a really clear return on investment with really solid business benefits. So thank you for joining me at TA Global Gathering. I really hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Please visit tribepad.com for more information.